Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. So, we are Falls from Iron. I am Gatesy, and this is Hammer's Shock. So, this is controversial thoughts and opinions from the world of West Ham United. So, gentlemen, how are we all? Are we all good and fit and firing?
Yes, very good, very good. I need 2 more days left in a week, so we're nearly there. Another weekend soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it tonight.
Good.
Now we usually kicks off a little bit on this show because there are some controversial opinions. But pity James isn't here because me and James really enjoy locking horns. But we'll see.
Where's James? Where's James?
I think he's busy on Jake's.
Yeah, he's on
channel.
Jake's.
I think Jake's got a stream going.
Bloody
at the minute,
hell! I
yeah,
thought he's got to
we've
be doing
kept you
something,
two
West
apart.
Ham. Yeah.
Might be no harm.
He couldn't even keep his eyes open last night. His eyes are all dark. I'm like, what are you doing, mate? You got to just have a break now and again, haven't you? Jesus. Because I think Tommy, he's with
he
with
loves
you
it
guys,
too
isn't
much,
he?
doesn't he?
That's all right, as long as you got something else going on in your life. So I hope he does do something else apart from this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Gatesy. Another day training the fine minds of the future. But yeah, all good, thanks.
And you, Cal, everything well where you are?
Yeah, everything's grand. I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So, we ready to get to it, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We may just as I say, West Ham Online, I believe, should be joining us on the stream, but he's been obviously a little bit held up. So as and when he becomes into the green room, we'll drop him in and we'll crack on from there. Just having a look, we've obviously put Scott and Luke there in the building, and Kent's in the building as well. Evening, Kent. Hope you're well. So we've got a couple of things to get our teeth into here, gentlemen. So this one here, I was selected by West Ham Online as one of his topics for discussion. So, Fabianski is overrated by our fans. Harry_5 on Instagram. Bit controversial, I think, it's fair to say. We'll start with Jazz. Is he right?
No, he's not. I mean, when you look at that, he was a free transfer, I think. Or very low fee. 7 million, was it? I think 7 million?
Yes.
Yeah, 7 million, which is not much in today's money. And if I'm right, his first season, I've never seen hardly a goalkeeper play throughout the season without hardly making any mistakes. It was really, really good. And when he was out, it showed how much we missed him and we nearly went down. That's just from one player. So that kind of showed how much we appreciate how good he was. And I believe if he hasn't won Hammer of the Year, he's certainly been runner-up since he's been here. So that kind of obviously shows how much we like him. So I think in terms of, this has probably been the best he's played in his life as well. His best part, West Ham, he was at Swansea, Arsenal, but I think at West Ham, he found his feet, he found his form. And they always say a goalkeeper's in form, certainly around 30, I think they say, when he's really in, the peak years. So I think we've seen some good couple of years from him, I think. And we can only rate him by what he's done for us, and he's rarely let us down. But one thing we do understand is he's getting on slightly, so we do need to look for his predecessor from next season onwards so he can guide him and bed him in, really. So, and when he's not there, we've got no real reasonable backup. I don't really like the backup options we got, really, Randolph and people like that. So not at all. I mean, for us, he's been really, really good, I think. So, yeah, we don't overrate him. We just say how good he is, which he is good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure, I'm just checking now. Yes, he was Hammer of the Year in 2019. So
there you go.
I found it quite a strange and just a strange comment that he's overrated. But as I say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I just don't think this one's going to be very popular with people. But you never know. One of you might prove me wrong. Tommy, over to you.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Jazz is saying there. He's not overrated by our fans. We know what he is. It's not like we're deluded about what we've got in goal. There's no West Ham fans, saying he's prime Buffon. Nobody's said that about him. If we said that about him, certainly that would be overrating him. But I think our fans have been realistic. He's been really good for us. He's been a very solid, dependable goalkeeper and a really good shot stopper. He's pretty solid on crosses. Comes and grabs them. Hasn't been calamitous. Certainly, of course, like you can point to certain errors in particular games, but what goalkeeper can't you do that about over a 3 or
Absolutely.
4 year period? They're all going to make some errors, but he has kept them to an absolute minimum. And I'll tell you what, Fabianski has been worth points to us since he arrived. There's been times when we weren't playing so well as we were this season, where he was keeping us in games. Where we were under the cost shots. You remember we were calamitous defensively for some time until David Moyes came in and righted the ship defensively. I mean, the amount of shots opponents were getting off at us was ridiculous. And Fabianski was single-handedly at times keeping us in games and earning us points. So he's been tremendous for us. So to me, it's a ridiculous statement to say he's overrated by us. Absolutely no way is he. We've been lucky to have him these last few seasons. I think he's done a great job for us, and we all appreciate that fact. And I don't think that's overrating him. I think it's just appreciation. We do really, really appreciate him, our fan base, I think, and rightly so. So I think whoever said that needs to learn the difference between appreciation and overrated.
Tommy, do you think
agree.
like me, he's been slightly above the Tottenham goalkeeper in the last 3-4 years? Lloris, for example, worth millions, French goalkeeper. I think Fabianski's been neck and neck with him, I think, for consistency and performances going back the last 3-4 years.
There's no question. Obviously, look, he's the West Ham goalkeeper, so it's not as sexy, and he hasn't been playing internationals for France, so he doesn't have the profile that a Lloris has. But Lloris, hasn't been pulling up any trees these last couple of seasons. He's. I would say, in fact, over the last maybe 3 seasons, I think Fabianski has been a bit better even than Lloris. In performances. So yeah, completely agree, Jazz. I think we've been very lucky to have him.
But just a good, interesting, fair comparison, isn't it, for the people down the road, the club? Yeah.
And let's not forget, as Mark said in the comment that I just put, I'll just put it back up. He's London's best goalkeeper at this precise moment in time. So, but yeah, there you go. Steve, same question to you. Fabianski, is he overrated by his fans?
No, he's not overrated. He's been really good for us. I mean, fans look at him and go, he dropped that cross or he made a mistake. But every single player on the pitch makes mistakes. Trouble is, when the goalkeeper does it, it's pretty calamitous. But no, I think he's been great for us. I agree with both Jazz and Tommy. Something I didn't realise until recently, this is what I heard, was that Fabianski was put in place to be signed by Moyes. And Pellegrini actually wanted Roberto as our number 1, but had to go through with Fabianski because it was already effectively a done deal. Now, let's wind this back a bit. If Pellegrini got Roberto in as our main keeper and we hadn't had Fabianski, we would be in the Championship now. Let's be clear. I mean, he is... I mean, Roberto makes Alan McKnight look competent.
McNightmare. Yeah.
I've seen some great keepers at West Ham. Fabianski's in my top 3. My top one's Parksy. He was just superb. And then it's pretty close between Ludo and Fab and Rob Green for where I go after that. But Roberto, how on earth he became a professional footballer, come to that, a professional goalkeeper, when he can't catch. You think that would be one of the fundamental skills of a goalkeeper, wouldn't you? So I'm very grateful.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think he's been brilliant. And is he perfect? Does he make mistakes? Occasionally. But every single player on the pitch makes mistakes, and every single goalkeeper who's ever played the game makes mistakes. And our England goalkeeper, Hart, made some in some fairly big tournaments. So,
Can I just say,
You know-
while we're on goalkeepers, because I know you've mentioned a few former West Ham goalkeepers, can I just take this opportunity to declare my love for Shaka Hislop?
Yeah.
Absolutely love Shaka. What a character! You know, what a player. He was a really good goalkeeper for us too. Absolutely love Shaka Hislop. He's still working for ESPN over in America. Always bigging up West Ham. By the way, he's still a big West
Good
Ham
boy.
fan, and you know, I love Shaka.
Tommy, I'll never forget Shaka Hislop because his question came up on the Hammer Shots final or semi-final with me, and my mind went blank. And Charlie, I think, set the question, so I'll never forget. I didn't get it right. I just could not figure him out. Like, who was our goalkeeper in the cup final? I just kept thinking Robert Green. I've forgotten all about Shaka. Just could not remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. Should he have got to that shot from Gerrard in the equaliser, Tommy?
No, I think that's a bit harsh. It was an absolute screamer. Went in just inside the post. I've never really heard anyone blame Shaka for that goal, to be honest.
No.
I mean, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say, look, that was a worldie, you know.
I remember hearing a story that Jimmy Walker told, because he was the substitute goalkeeper, and he turned, because it was pretty close between those two as to who was going to get the nod for the cup final by all accounts. And apparently after the game, so Jimmy Walker says that he sort of like turned around to Paz and was like, shots down low was my game sort of thing, but one of those. What do you do? Cahill, over to you. Your opinions on this statement about Fabianski?
Definitely not overrated. Like, I was probably 3 or 4 the last time someone like Shaka played for us. So, best goalkeeper I've ever seen playing for us. You can see by Steve putting him up there, and Steve seen the best of them, like, and he's up there with them. There's no way he's overrated. Even look at the game on Monday there against Burnley. He saved us there. I know we should have won it 4 or 5-1 maybe, but it would have been typical if we didn't score all the goals we should have, only scored the 2, and they go and score that. But he saved us there. I don't think there's much more. Everyone said their bit. I agree with it all. He's one of the best goalies we've had in modern times, and definitely not overrated.
Yeah. No, I think that's unanimous, gentlemen.
Yeah. You know how we always have... Sorry, Jess, carry on, mate.
No, carry on. Go.
I was just going to say, when we're on goalkeepers, I mean, obviously we talk a lot about how disastrous we've been for the last while on buying strikers. I think in the Premier League era and maybe before, we've done really actually quite well on keepers. We've had some good ones. Yeah. We have had some good keepers. Like we spoke about. Obviously, we had Rob Green and we had David James. We had Shaka. We've got
40-year-old Jussi Jääskeläinen who spent more time on his knees than on his feet.
Yeah. But to be fair, we've actually done all right on keepers.
Yeah.
Even Adrian's a bit of a cult hero, in fairness to him.
Yeah. Taking the gloves off, throwing them down, scoring the penalty.
But even as a goalkeeper, I know he made a tits of a lot of things, but he was a team. He's one of those. He loved an old TV save. He loved to make everything look fancy, and you'd be terrified anytime he got the ball kicked to his feet because he bloody try nutmeg someone instead of getting rid of it. But he wasn't an awfully bad keeper. We've seen the best of him out of any club.
Yeah, and actually, it's a criticism of that I see a lot now of Fabianski. Oh, he's not very good on the floor with his feet. And I don't care. Like every time a back pass goes back to Fabianski, I'm grateful that he just boots it up the bloody field. I've seen too many goalkeepers trying to be clever, trying to be smart, trying to play like they're outfield players so they can, start us teams playing out from the back, and then make an absolute bloody balls of it. And end up causing a calamitous goal. I'm perfectly happy for Fabianski to boot the ball down the field anytime the back pass is played to him and he's coming under any kind of pressure. I'd rather see him do that and boot it out for a throw-in on the halfway line than to see him try and do something he can't do, and try and be a bit of a twinkle toes and think
they can't score from the opposite end of the pitch,
thinking he's going to, do a little turn and curl one out to the fullback. I'm quite happy for him to boot the ball up the field, to be honest.
Would you rather have Lionel Messi in goal or would you rather have Gianluigi Buffon? That's the thing. It's like you want a goalkeeper to make saves.
I
The
think
distribution.
Fabianski knows what you can and cannot do. And
Yeah.
he knows he's not good with his feet, and he doesn't want to cause an absolute cock up. So he boots the ball away when he's being closed down. And good for him. I hope he keeps doing that. I'm perfectly happy with him clearing the danger.
Yeah, if he can make a sort of a match-winning save, then as far as I'm concerned, who cares about his distribution? It'd be nice if he could sort of like spray passes around left, right, and centre, like
Ederson.
some of the best midfielders, like Iniesta or whatever. But he's a goalkeeper. You want him to keep the ball out of the back of the net, no ifs, no buts. So I think that's unanimous. I think we've all agreed that is a completely nonsense statement. Fabianski is not overrated by the fans.
Gatesy, can I just say something?
Of course.
A little known fact: when we signed Bobby Ferguson back in the day, and I've seen him play as well, Cathal. So yes, I am old. We could have signed Gordon Banks.
Yeah,
I've heard this.
Yeah.
But the reason we didn't was because Greenwood was a man of honour and he'd already agreed it with Ferguson. But Bobby Moore wanted Gordon Banks to come down to us, and by all accounts, Gordon Banks wanted to come as well. So we could have.
And he went to Stoke, didn't he?
Yeah, we could have had 4 World Cups.
Sure, leave him be. Stoke needs some form of legend.
Yeah, but in '72 he saved that penalty from Jeff Hurst.
Yeah,
Sliding
the
doors.
It's got to be against Pele, though. Hasn't it? I mean, you see that. I was at an auction and there was a picture of that signed by Gordon Banks, and I just missed out getting it. Otherwise, I would have had that on my wall somewhere. But what a save that was!
It defied all laws of physics and everything. That save, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and the thing for me with that save, I mean, he obviously did brilliantly to get down to it. But for me, the kind of incredible way he was able to turn it over the bar from there, like how it doesn't seem possible. It was brilliant enough that he got down to it. That in itself would be a great save. If he turned it round the post for a corner or for a corner kick, that would have been a great save. But what makes that save so special is that somehow he managed to put this bouncing ball over the crossbar. I mean, I still don't know how he got it over the crossbar, away from danger. I just have no idea.
Yeah,
And
Gordon Banks was just.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
And he saves it from behind his starting position, so he's going backwards as he saves it. If you watch it again, where his feet start, where he dives, he actually gets the ball behind where his feet were, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was ridiculous save.
People go great save and things like that, and there are some excellent saves out there, but that has got to be the all-time greatest, surely.
Best I've seen anyway.
Yeah, top tier save.
Anyone remember that David Seaman?
Haven't seen me out in the park then, lads. Come on.
Anyone remember that David Seaman save against Sheffield United? It was
Sheffield
a cup
United.
semi-final.
Yeah, up at Old Trafford.
That was behind him as well. He had to dive backwards.
Yeah,
and
I know that one.
And put his hand back and just managed to claw it away before it crossed the line. That was an
He sort of scooped it back, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was behind him.
And that was
as well.
a David Seaman that a lot of people thought was on the way down, wasn't it, Tom? At that time,
Yeah,
that's actually the one I thought of.
That was
when
the wisdom was that David Seaman was on the wane and he was losing it because he'd grown a ponytail. But yeah, that was a magnificent save. That's one of the best I've seen as well, I have to say.
Was he around without the ponytail? I've only ever seen him with it.
No, I didn't have it when he started off. Yeah.
The ponytail was his kind of late 30s, early 40s crisis, wasn't it?
Because he was good with it though. That's the only clips I've really seen of the ponytail.
Yeah.
Well, you can see who's joined us, ladies and gentlemen. West Ham Online, how are you?
Not very good. 30-minute meeting, 90 minutes long. But yeah, I'm okay now. But not sure how good the Wi-Fi is going to be.
You even sound like you've lost the will to live.
I didn't know the police took that long.
Oh, I have. It was the most pointless thing of all time.
Oh dear. Oh well, just so I don't know if you're aware of it, West Ham Online. We've done the one about Fabianski being overrated, and I think it's been fairly unanimously trumped and just ridiculed that particular statement. So I'm going to pass it back over to you to go through the remaining ones that you picked out earlier. So which one you want to go for is entirely up to you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what one should we go for first, because there was a few real stinkers in there. I'll tell you what, we'll go for the one that you picked out because I thought that was really good. The one about Roberto and Pellegrini.
This one. Yeah, Pellegrini wasn't a bad manager.
Have you read that
Roberto
one
just
out
effed us over. That's yeah. It's just on the screen. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I disagree. Yeah. I think that's ridiculous. I see what they're saying in the fact that Pellegrini first season done okay, in my opinion. But it wasn't just Roberto that was the problem. His defensive structure wasn't there. He was too easy to break down. Teams would find a way for us really easily, and for me, the defense never looked solid. I remember a game against Leicester. I've watched it back the other day. We lost 2-1, and they started their B team pretty much. And the defensive structure was embarrassing. Even Rice in that game was all over the place.
He gets sacked
was all
after
over
that
the
game.
place. I mean, it didn't help that we had Carlos Sanchez in midfield that was about as good as me.
Was that his last game?
Yeah, you're right. That was
I think he got sacked because it was. I remember them coming out with the B team, Chowdhury and all running the midfield.
Yeah, I remember it well.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Okay, so we'll go to Jazz on that one. So Jazz, Pellegrini, was he a bad manager?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he kind of ended up with one of the biggest budgets of any West Ham manager we can remember, and we've seen what's happened to the likes of Anderson and obviously Roberto. And I think even the way he managed, you could just see on the touchline, if we were struggling, he rarely would get up. He'd just sit down. He wouldn't get up. He wouldn't say anything. Just looked too relaxed. He had his 3-4 comrades around him, all about 80, 90 years old like him. Anyone coming through the door, if you could speak Spanish, you had a 60% chance of signing for West Ham. I don't think he did anything like constructive in terms of tactics or defense strategy or anything in the training ground. It was the same. And we kept losing game after game after game the same way. And he would just set up the same way every single time. He just would not change anything. And it's just like Roy de Rovers football, really. Just go forward. Don't worry about the back. And it was just crazy, really. So, yeah, he came with a big reputation. I mean, some people felt that not some people. I think there's a truth to the matter that he had virtually retired before West Ham approached him out of the blue. Didn't expect West Ham to come in for him. And he thought, okay, that's a nice final paycheck. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, well, you go to retire, don't you? So he thought, oh, that's a great little paycheck. I'll bring 2-3 friends with me. I'll bring maybe, I don't know if it was his son or someone related as one of the scouts. And then I'll bring my best mate in as another director of football. We'll all make a nice little few pennies out of it, I think, together. I mean, I had high hopes when he came in. I thought he's going to be very experienced with if you look at his CV, I thought he's going to bring, something good. He'll be able to attract really good players to the club and things like that. But overall verdict is, it was a failure in the end, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, his CV was ridiculously impressive. I mean, he managed Real Madrid. He'd won the Premier League with City. But I think you're right. I think he'd gone to China to retire. And I don't think he could believe his luck when David Sullivan turned up with an open checkbook. But there you go. That's just my opinion. Tommy, your thoughts?
I agree with Jazz. He was a bad manager for us. And, Roberto was just kind of the final nail in the coffin. That kind of just finished him off, really. But he was already really floundering. To add to what Jazz was saying, I mean, also, if you look, defensively, we were atrocious. The amount of shots opponents were getting off on us was ridiculous. We were conceding goals left, right, and centre. It was just far too easy to open us up at the back and get your shots away. Also, our fitness levels were terrible. I mean, we were like 19th, I think, in kind of effort, as it were. So, in distance covered and stuff like that. And so there was no closing down. There was the fitness levels weren't there. The effort wasn't there from the players. It was just very lackadaisical all around. It's not. If you look at the difference with Moyes now, how organised we are, how fit we are, how much running the closing down the players do. Everybody knows their job. It's just a world apart from how we looked under Pellegrini, and none of that was Roberto's fault. Let's be honest. Putting Roberto in for those few games was calamitous, obviously, and that, as I say, was the final nail in his coffin. But Roberto's not responsible for fitness levels. He's not responsible for very leaky defense. He's not responsible for lack of closing down. As Jazz says, he's not responsible for lack of tactical awareness. So, that's all on Pellegrini. And Roberto was on Pellegrini too, because he put him in there, and you could see very early on, he's not up to this. He's costing us goals. He's calamitous. He should have got him back out of there, but he kept playing him, and brought his sacking on himself.
Tommy, where do you think, and I know it's hypothetical, but where do you think we'd have been if instead of getting Pellegrini in, we'd have stuck with Moyes the first time round?
That's difficult to say, obviously. But I think from what we've seen this season from Moyes, it's probably fair to say we could expect to have been in much better shape than we were under Pellegrini in that season. So I think you have to give Moyes the benefit of the doubt that he would have come in and done similar, maybe not quite as well as he's done this season, but because I do think there were some players that were signed in between who did improve the team. I think by the time Moyes had come back for his second spell, but I still think he very much would have gotten it right. Whether it would have happened straight away, we don't know. But I think over the course of the season, I think we would have seen a vast improvement. Probably would have finished the season quite strongly, and then kicked on the following season. So I think we would have been in better shape overall.
Certainly would have been in better shape financially, because we wouldn't have blown the best part of 200 million quid on players. But Steve, over to you, my friend.
Well, I mean, it's a great question, because when we first got Pellegrini, I remember having this debate with James, my son. I said, bad move. We should have kept Moyes, because Moyes, I thought, was a really, really good fit for a club of our size. Very Everton-esque situation. And I wasn't happy when Pellegrini came in. Now I proved my point in an argument with James. The finishing comment is David Moyes, as in, I told you I was right, James. And that's how I finish. So I finished the conversation with him. But was Pellegrini a bad manager? I'll put it.
Sorry, I'm really sorry, Steve, because it does matter for us. Chelsea are 1-0 up against Real Madrid. So if they go through to the final for City, obviously that means more another game for them. But I don't know if that's after the season ends. But anyway, they're 1-0 up, so they're 2-1 up on aggregate now. Sorry,
Who
Steve.
got it, Tom?
No
Werner.
problem, Tommy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
To just my view on Pellegrini was he a bad manager? He consistently picked Roberto after the first disastrous game. If you've got a goalkeeper who punches the ball into his own net, surely a blind bat in a dark cave with no lighting at night can see you need to drop him. It's not rocket science to realise that the team is just going to be drained of confidence if your keeper is going to score 2 goals for the opposition each game. So was Pellegrini a bad manager? Yeah, because he kept picking Roberto. I mean, I know, I agree with Tommy. It was a lot more than Roberto, but just that one thing you could see in pre-season. I don't know whether any of you watched the matches in China pre-season, and Roberto was in goal. You could tell he was a disaster waiting to happen then. So no, that level of stubbornness nearly cost us our Premier League position. And yeah, I think you can't at any point say, yeah, Pellegrini was a good manager, because that one decision was completely clueless, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Over
And
to
also,
Cahill. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, go on. Lost my train
No,
of thought.
carry on,
No,
Tom.
it doesn't matter. Carry on.
I thought it
Can't
was just
remember
me
what
that
was-
happened to.
No, getting old. Alzheimer's is kicking in.
Do you ever get that where you walk into a room and you wonder why you've come in there?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I think that's a
Nah.
people problem. I bloody do that. I don't want to call
Nah.
myself old yet.
Not just me then. Cahill. So Pellegrini wasn't a bad manager. It was all down to Roberto.
Oh, that's bullshit. He
Don't sit
bought
on the
him,
fence
sure.
now.
No, I'm not going to try discredit Leicester winning the league or anything. But he's the manager that was managing that City team, and that City team was class back then. I know it might not look as good as now, but it was well good enough to win that league, and I think they might finish 4th or 5th when Leicester went and won the league. He was off to China, so he already had one foot in the retirement door.
Didn't Leicester put 5 past them that season at the Etihad?
I couldn't tell you. I just know they had an awful season with a decent squad.
No, it was 3-1. It was 3-1. They beat him convincingly. But didn't they put 5 past them this season?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they might have. Yeah.
Leicester, yeah,
might
they do win quite regularly against Man City. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's much more to say. Like, he was already sort of past it retirement-wise. Even I know we've a history of making a balls of sort of league and cup games, but by God, was it frustrating watching him put out a league or a cup team, because he was just giving up on it. But he wasn't giving up on it for the sake of the league. He was just giving up on it, and he was bloody giving up on the league as well. But he did buy us Pablo Fornals, so we have to appreciate him for that.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But
And
Cal,
you know how Jazz was saying. He used to just sit on the bench with his legs crossed, and you always got the impression he was like, do I really care?
But he was like that in his prime as well. He was quiet.
He didn't look like he was phased with what he was seeing, even though it was atrocious. And you see David Moyes always up on the touchline, shouting, roaring at players, and giving instructions, and making sure they're doing their jobs. And you can see to David Moyes, it really, really matters. It really matters.
It's a complete difference.
It just never felt like Pellegrini was that pushed. Really, he knew
we had a quiet attacking manager, and now we've
Pellegrini
allowed.
knew. Yet the worst case scenario for him was that he gets sacked and get a very, very nice payday.
Yeah, I think he was
Exactly
the third highest paid manager in the league when we had him.
yeah. And
I
just
can't.
to come
I
back
can't
and,
imagine. Yeah,
sorry.
I can't imagine Pellegrini being angry, having go at anyone. I bet the training ground was like a holiday camp. I think it was just too relaxed, perhaps.
You couldn't imagine the teacups going flying at half time, could you?
I think Bilic had a bit of that as well in him at the end. He just too easy going, I think, at the training ground in the end. Yeah,
Bilic was definitely like that. I think Bilic, obviously a very likable chap, but yeah, I think Bilic maybe
he lost the room. He lost the dressing room.
Yeah, I think he was too concerned with being popular with the players, and I think it mattered to him too much that the players all really liked him.
He was more a colleague than a boss, sort of stuff.
Yeah, so that didn't work out. Even though I won't have too much bad to say about Bilic, because I really liked him, and I do think he was very passionate. I do think he was actually very passionate about West Ham and about the job he was doing, and and he showed a lot of heart, and it the exact opposite to Pellegrini. Actually, I think to Bilic it really, really mattered.
I think when he brought
Yeah.
West Brom up, people were just getting too excited about him. Right? I said, just wait until they come back to the Premiership. The Championship, I'll stick to my guns, is a very, very poor league. The same rubbish teams that went down, they're coming up again. I mean, Norwich didn't even buy anyone. They still got.
But no one would have done anything with that West Brom team. He got shafted as well by they got rid of the player, his captain that he wanted to keep. The board got rid of that Higazi fella. I think it was the
well, 20
Egyptian
million
centre back.
Yeah, 20 million Dean Garner didn't go down well either, did it? So
No,
Well,
he never
I mean-
proved himself to be worth that.
Didn't go down well here either, but I think now a lot of people are like, oh yeah, so what? But Cal, just to come back on your point about Pellegrini buying Pablo Fornals and we should be thankful. All I'm going to say as a retort is even a broken clock is right twice a day, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, plus it's
There you
Moyes
go.
that's turned Fornals into the player he is.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. He was on the bench a lot more before even Pellegrini didn't
Yeah.
have him ticking.
Yeah. West Ham Online, your internet back up and running, my friend?
Yeah, I've what I've done is I've got the booster box and I've moved it to my room, so we're gonna try that out.
Bit
But
of hot
Sky
wiring.
Wi-Fi, in my opinion, is about as reliable as Roberto himself. So yeah, we'll see.
Andy Carroll's fitness record.
Yeah,
Or any other injury-prone player that we've had over the years. So, West Ham Online, is there anyone in particular you want to go for next of the subject matter that you picked out?
yeah. There's two, but the first one I wanted to do because I felt like this one could be argued a bit more because I genuinely think a few people would say it. But I think it's ridiculous. Someone said Antonio is overrated.
This one here, Louise Dinan.
Him. I don't know. I just completely
Get the
disagree
pitchforks out
with
and find her.
it. Yeah, I completely disagree with it. He can play a number of positions: right back, left wing, right wing.
no, you can't play
striker.
right back. No, you can't play right back.
Okay, yeah. Well, we tried his best.
Well,
He tried his
Bilic
best.
disagrees, Jazz. Bilic disagrees.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right to be honest, but he tried his best.
Weird
actually
period
has
of time. Bloody Dominic Calvert-Lewin was a left wing back when Antonio was a right wing back. Look at them now.
The players in training had to beg Bilic to stop playing him at right back.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really?
But Antonio has 23 goal contributions in his last 27 games. Yet the way some people talk about him, you'd think he's not scored in 3 years.
He should have
I
about
don't-
46. That's the
hey,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
that again.
23 goal
27.
contributions in 27, yeah. 7 goals.
Pretty impressive.
Not 7 goals, what am I
He
on
should
about?
have doubled that.
17 goals, 6 assists.
Wow.
He finished the
I-
end
I-
of last season really strong, didn't he?
Yeah. I do
Got those
agree.
4
I mean,
goals
his
up at
finishing
Carrow
is
Road.
horrific. Yeah, his finishing isn't good, but I think his positioning as a striker has been fantastic. He seems to get a lot of chances and he's adapted to that really quickly. Yes, he can't hit a barn door half the time, but I think he's vital for us, and I think you saw that when he was gone.
See, here's the problem I have with these. We had this is the same as the Fabianski comment, right? This overrated thing. And here's the problem I have with when people make statements like that. What do you mean overrated? Like, what exactly are you saying? Overrated how? What is it you think fans think of Antonio? Again, it comes back to the context. You know, it's a kind of, there's no context to a statement like that. You know, Antonio is
Where's your
overrated.
benchmark?
Oh, what's your benchmark? Overrated as opposed to who? You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same answer I give as Fabianski. We know what we've got. Nobody's deluded as to the player Antonio is.
Yeah.
We know
we don't
he's
think
not
he's
a
prime
natural
Messi.
finisher. Yeah, we know he's not a natural striker. We know he's probably not going to get 20 goals in the season. But we also know the good things that he does. So the question, the statement is just sloppy and doesn't really mean anything. I think it's just a clickbaity thing to say to get a reaction from people. Like, what do you even mean, overrated? Where's the context? It's like people who make statements like should qualify it and say, at least explain what it is they mean by overrated. If he's talking about, he's not as good as Harry Kane, then sure, we can agree on that. But nobody thinks he's Harry Kane. So it's a sloppy kind of a statement, and it's boring to me, frankly. So I'm going to skip answering it because it's just a stupid thing.
Does Harry Kane do funny celebrations, though? Don't think so.
No, Mickey doesn't either now. Doesn't want to embarrass himself.
or injure his hamstrings maybe accidentally. Jazz, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think overrated, that word you use when we've perhaps slapped a 60, 70 million transfer fee on his head. We use that word if he was in the England team ahead of a super club striker, for example. So, like Tommy said, he's not going to go anywhere. He's our problem. He's our player. We internally discuss things about him. We don't compare him to anyone else because there is no one else like him in the league. He's kind of quite unique. The only thing we do have a go at him is because he could get even more. He could get much more than that. But I don't think that's going to happen at his age now. He is what he is, and it's okay for us. I mean, if we played two up front and we had someone really prolific next to him or a slightly tidier finisher, that would show him up in even a better light. I think he could create the odd, and then even if he missed a few and we knew the other striker's going to bang in another two, then we wouldn't focus on him too much. So I think him being on his own up front obviously put some more focus on him, I think. And next year, hopefully, we get a striker, and then he plays just behind, and then it'll be perfect. He can get into the box when he wants and finish off those kind of goals that he scores that we don't know how he's done it. He'll set people up, and even if he misses two, as long as the main striker keeps putting him away, then we won't mind so much, I think. So, yeah, I don't think that overrated doesn't really make any sense to me. I think, we don't really. No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No, we know what we've got in Antonio.
Yeah.
Nobody's deluded about Antonio. We know what we've got. We know what he's good at. We know what he brings to the team. We know what he's not so great at. He's not overrated at all. It's silly.
It would be like you said, Tommy, if we said, he's worth 70 million, he's worth 80, he's in the England team ahead of one of the Liverpool strikers, then we could understand why someone's getting jealous of him or something. But he's 30, 31, whatever. He's not going to go anywhere. And he's with us, Yeah,
fair enough. Steve, your thoughts? Is Antonio overrated?
No, we know exactly what we've got with him. And let's face it, if you're a defender, would you want to play against Antonio? That pace, that strength. And one of his biggest skills, and you're going to have to let me explain this point, is his first touch. Because the ball comes to him, and he has got no idea how he's going to control it and what he's going to do with it. And therefore, a defender's got no chance of predicting what he's going to do. But somehow he makes that work and causes havoc. I mean, his first touch is like Carlton Cole's. Carlton Cole was either sublime or hopeless. There was no middle ground. And you can never predict what he's going to do. And for us, that's brilliant. I mean, can you imagine? He's as likely to bring it down on his thigh, chip it over the defender's head and run on goal as he used to miskick it out for a throw-in.
Yeah, poor Mickey. He has the first touch of a rapist.
But the thing is, it is so unpredictable. I feel sorry for the defender. My son and I sometimes are in absolute fits watching Antonio's first touch. But again, against Wolves, laying flat on his back, he's got 2 feet around the ball. He gets up, skips both defenders, and gets to the touchline. That's just before he went off. How? How did he do it?
He'll take a touch and then body it. That's the thing. People are afraid to go for a skewed touch.
Well, about the way he
Definitely flatten them.
He stopped his own shot, didn't he? That was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
well defended.
Well, he got in the way of another guy's shot, didn't he? Another player, then he was in the way of that one.
Well, but if he doesn't know what he's going to do, the defenders haven't got a chance. And I think
he's so unpredictable. I mean, he can do something sublime 1 minute, and then do something, like absolutely comical the next. Like just circus stuff.
You know that thing where he puts in and goes full sprint and just skews it every time. He's probably done it 20 times, maybe even more, and he's never hit it on target. Even he goes for that long shot. But we love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Antonio's the only player who could be both the best and worst player in a game at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible. Like he can be like
He's the best
best
shit
and
footballer
worst.
we've
Yeah,
had.
he can be the best and worst player on the pitch in one
Yeah.
game. You know, it's
He,
but
he can
you
be
can't fault his attitude though. Jeez, he gives it everything.
No.
he can
Yeah.
be the best
Carol,
and worst
your
player in
thoughts?
one dribble. Can't let's be honest. You know, I love him. I think he's great for us, and I wouldn't want to swap him at all.
Yeah. I think you've made Charlie Boy spit his drink out, Tom, with the little humorous little humorous reference you made earlier. To be
Yeah,
fair,
sorry,
if
Charlie
I'd have
boy.
been drinking,
Sorry.
I'd have probably done the same. Cal, your thoughts? Antonio, overrated?
Bullshit. I like we all love him. That's the thing. He's like a reincarnation of Carlton Cole, but actually probably has a better like striker's instinct, and
Yeah.
he knows how to get a goal a bit better. Carlton loved an old flamboyant goal, a nice cheeky sort of flamboyant goal, but we just love them types of players. They are like they're West Ham sort of in a nutshell there, and yeah, he's exactly as everyone said. We're not overrating him because we're not saying he's this mad player. We admit that he's a bit shit, but we love him for it, and
Yeah.
he just works. It's his work ethic. It's everything. He works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think we're a much better team with him in, aren't we? West Ham online.
Yeah, I think everyone said it. He's mental to watch. Like he'll go on a dribble where he accidentally scoop turns himself and accidentally nutmegs himself. Yeah, he'll end up 1-on-1 with the keeper.
But you remember
I just don't understand when he runs at people. It's so I
remember
just
his
don't know how he
first
gets
goal?
by them half the time. Yeah, it hit off his back or
He
something.
sort
It
of
was
like
ours.
tripped over and they just booted it
Yeah.
at him and it went.
Yeah,
I think that
against
sums him
Southampton,
up.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
poor
chipped the keeper.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, just things don't work out for him, do they? Really, sometimes when he tries stuff, he just, you can see in his head what he wants to happen, and
He thinks
and it
he's
just
prime Henri half the time. That's the thing.
yeah, in his head he's like unbelievable, and he really believes in himself, Mick. He really does. Bless him.
Fair play to him.
His confidence is incredible, but things just they don't happen to pan out. He doesn't quite have the technique to do what's in his head to do and stuff. He's just one of those players. We feel like Mick is one of those people that, like, if he fell into a barrel full of tits, he'd come out sucking his thumb.
That's just the carrot. Oh yeah.
Tommy, every time you manage to get me, mate. Every time. Oh dear. Okay, so West Ham online. What's the next one you want to select from your collection of comments from your Instagram followers?
Yeah, I've seen two stinkers regarding the same subject here. Both of them I literally almost jumped out my window upon seeing, but I sent one of them to you and I've seen one that's even worse. Someone said Lingard is average, first of all, and another person said he's not even been very good for West Ham. Now, I'm not sure where their local spectators
I think the clue's
is,
in the
but
title though here, West Ham online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've seen the names.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no Nathan Redmond.
Yeah.
But I saw a West Ham fan say it as well, Gatesy. And I've sent
you
it
are
after
joking.
the show, but someone said he's not been that good for us lately. He's not been any good, which he's maybe had an off game, and I saw someone else saying, United fans were right, he can't play against a deep block or something, like a low block. I mean,
Low
what
block,
the hell?
yeah.
Where is
We
the
need some
local
opinions that we're not just going to say, all right, that's bullshit. We all agree on it.
I mean, it is ridiculous. And I felt like fainting upon seeing it, if I'm honest.
Before we bat this one round, Alex in the live chat's just come in with this one. Just a one-word answer, gentlemen, just for
Waste of time.
sort of like quickness. Is the Premier League Hall of Fame a waste of time, or is it a good idea? Tommy's, I've heard he said waste of time instantly. Jazz.
Waste of time.
What's the point?
Waste of time.
Yeah,
we
it's
know,
pointless.
we know, we know,
It's
we know which
pointless.
players were good.
Very
down the
American
years.
idea, isn't it?
Ah, you stole my
Yeah.
word, Gatesy. I was
Yeah.
just going to say
Steve?
Americanized franchise bullshit.
Yeah, and
I don't
like,
think it's the end of the world. I don't mind it.
Yeah, but it's a
But
waste
at
of
the same
time.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
may
but-
as well get us to do it. You may as well
Nobody
just do a show,
cares.
mate. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally
Steve,
don't give two
you're
shits
in
who's
the
in the
same
Hall
camp?
of Fame.
Complete nonsense. Get rid of it.
The first
Well,
few years are just going to be
Yeah,
the classic
complete
Man
load of
United
old
players and all
Hall-
that.
Hall-
Like, it's not going to be
Hall of-
anything special.
Hall of Fame, but Tommy is big in the WWF, isn't it? The wrestling. Then I kind of listen a little bit. The Hall of Fame's quite important. For
Yeah,
the
but that's
wrestling
American.
bit. Yeah, exactly. So it's all right over
American,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
It's just pointless and irrelevant. Is my answer.
It's like all of us
completely.
just sitting down and presenting an award for the player that's been the worst this season. Like, it's just one of those things you wouldn't do it. And I don't know, it is very pointless. And can I just say, if we were doing that award, Roberto, in my opinion, the best ever winner of it.
Dear, oh dear, don't mention that name round here. So Lingard, average, Jazz, discuss.
No, we can only judge him the time he's had with us, and he's playing so good that he was nearly up there in the Player of the Year. People talking about that, but he's improved the team so much, hit the ground running.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone who could do more than what he's done. Joining halfway through the season, hardly any training with us, hit the ground running, hasn't played in a year and a half. Those people are obviously jealous that how we've got him. We had the foresight to see that he's going to work for us. And again, it's got to go back to David spotting him out, worked with him before. And obviously, we were all thinking, God, how long will it take him to get fit? What are we going to get out of him? And he absolutely blew everyone out, didn't it? Absolutely surprising. So, no, it's a kind of stupid comments, or some people are doing up too much time. No, it's been absolutely revelation for us. He's brought that Manchester class with him, winning mentality. He's a cut above what we already had, which is the key. So long as you bring in players that are better than your first 11, that's the way to go up. And he is a cut above Bowen and a cut above Ben Ram and people like that. But they'll learn from him. You know, his positional sense. He's always available for the ball. We've seen his finishing. Absolutely brilliant. I'm really happy with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tommy, your thoughts?
Oh Christ! I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. Like this is just like, look, the person who said that doesn't believe it, right? This is someone just trying to get a reaction by saying something.
Southampton fan.
Saying something that's edgy and clearly bullshit.
He'd be their best player.
Just a reaction. I mean,
Yeah.
look, Lingard's been sensational since he joined us. So is it 7 goals, 9 and 4 assists or something like that? And
9 goals.
9
goals.
9 goals and 4 assists or something like that. He's been sensational.
The first player to win a penalty as well.
Yeah, and so it's a comment that's barely worth talking about. It's ridiculous. He's been sensational. Everybody knows it, including this 6-toed Southampton fan. So, move on. Pointless.
Steve.
Well, I tell you what, I predict that Southampton fan owns a white stick, wears dark glasses, and always goes walking with a dog. If he really thinks about Lingard. Really? I mean, come on. He's been brilliant. He hasn't been so great in the last couple of games, and I'll tell you why. Because people have suddenly thought, if we stop Lingard, we can stop West Ham. So he's getting much, much more attention. But give him half a yard. Give him something to shoot at. He's brilliant. I don't know whether we'll sign him. I hope we do. But it's going to come down to where he wants to go. And he seems very, very happy at West Ham. And you're always hearing conflicting reports on that. But, I'll pay for that Southampton fan to go to Specsavers and get his eyes tested, because really, he's been sensational. The first goal, was it against Leicester? He scored. from outside the box on the volley. That was against Leicester, wasn't it?
His debut was against Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
debut
was
was Villa, yeah.
Recent game, and he took it, and you thought there is
Oh,
possibly
yeah. Yeah.
only a handful of players, not
yeah.
in the Premier League, in Europe, or possibly the world, who could have taken it like that. And I think what seals the deal is, I was watching one of Moyes' interviews, and they said, as Antonio was out, do you regret not getting a striker in January? And David Moyes turned around and said, well, I got Jesse Lingard in. Silence from the reporter. Absolute silence. And I don't care if we got a striker in, I don't think he would have had the impact that Lingard has had, unless he was someone like Harry Kane, or a not injured Harry Kane, should I say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyone else still sickened that effort from Lingard in the edge of the box against Chelsea went just wide?
Yeah,
That would have been that would have
yeah.
been a sensational goal.
yeah. Then
Yeah, no,
Chelsea
that would have
fans
been
would have been
pretty
calling
special.
him average.
Yeah. Or Southampton fans. But
All I have to
When
say
you've
to
never
that Southampton fan, see you last game of the season when Lingard rocks up.
yeah.
See, Southampton fans might not be that impressed with someone scoring 9 goals in a few months because they're used to seeing people score 9 goals against them in a night. So it might not be anything big for them.
Yeah.
Plus they're going to lose Danny Ings this summer, so they
Yeah.
should be worrying about other things and not Lingard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they probably have
I
about
suspect
9
that Cal,
fans.
you don't agree that sorry. I suspect you don't agree, Cahill, that Lingard's been average.
No, I think my statement there sort of backed me up.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
say it again.
I
For
don't know
the
about
third statement in a row.
I don't know, sort of like Steve said about he'll pay for a Specsavers eye test. I'll go a step further. I'll pay for a full frontal lobotomy, mate. That's a ridiculous statement. Absolutely ridiculous statement.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going
I'll
to
tell-
message
Tony-
the guy.
You know what tells you everything? There's 3 questions we've had. We haven't had a single disagreement amongst any of us.
No,
That's how ridiculous
we could
it's
have.
been. We could have some.
Well-
We could have had some good ones. People saying something where we could actually argue and debate something that has some merit. But so far, it's been all clickbaity bollocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one.
Welcome to
I've
Instagram.
got one. Now, this
football.
is my wild card. This is one that I found on a Facebook page. Long live the Bolin. And I asked the original poster if we could use it, and he said, "Yep, not a problem." So here it is. I'm going to be really, really provocative here, and I am prepared for the hate. We have had our most successful Premier League season ever. 5 years ago under Slaven, we also had a season and played like we haven't since '86. Now, I'm no great lover of GSB, and I can't ever go back to Upton Park because she's not there. But both these seasons have been under them. Discuss.
Coincidence.
West Ham Online.
Complete coincidence. If that guy is trying to hint that GSB are have done a good job, I'm sorry, I don't know if he's watching, but I'd get yourself checked up because that is absolutely mental. If you think that GSB are responsible for the seasons, and I'll tell you
in fairness,
why.
I don't think he's saying they're responsible. I think he's just making the point that those 2 seasons have come under their stewardship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's not his point, what is
He's
it?
he's stated
Yeah,
it.
but
He's
then what
stated
is his
fact.
point?
There's not much.
Yeah, but
much to
what
it.
is his
But
point? What does he want us to discuss?
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that he's put it out there for people to sort of deliberate over, and I don't think it got a very favourable response. But
Anyone who has a notion of GSBN doesn't get a favourable response.
If it's just a blanket. If it's just a blanket fact he's making that we've had,
it's true.
2 very good seasons since GSB took over the club, then yes, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know what the point.
I don't know what else to say really. If his point is not that GSB are maybe doing a better job than they're given credit for, I suspect that's what was. I'm reading between the lines. I think that's what he's trying to say. That because we've had those 2 good seasons, maybe GSB aren't running the club as badly as fans are making out. So I can only imagine that's what he's getting at. Otherwise, it's just a blanket statement of fact that we can all just nod our heads and move on. But 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 I would disagree certainly with the underlying kind of trend there. No,
Yeah.
it's you can't take 2 seasons out of 11 and say, well, they were 2 seasons, therefore they're doing a great job overall. No, you can't take out 2 seasons out of 11 and say that. I'm sorry. Listen, 2016, Pyatt came in. No one can tell me that GSB or anybody else thought Pyatt was going to do what he did. Or that Slevin was going to come in and
They
just
probably
be the
didn't even know him, did they?
guy who just happened to like give them their freedom to go and express themselves and stuff. And that was just one of those freak occurrence seasons. We happened to have an absolute world-class player in the middle of the park who happened to be a creative player and almost carried us to a Champions League. I think this season is much more deliberate. I think more credit for this season goes to the manager than I think 15-16 realistically probably did. I think Moyes is doing actually a tremendous job. And he does have some good players there to work with. So this to me is on Moyes. We're having this season because Moyes, in my book. If this was down to GSB running the club very well, then we would have seen this much more consistently and earlier. They took over in 2009, let's not forget. Okay, this is our 10. This is if they
all
were
about
really
next
good
season.
owners, if they were really good owners who were progressing the club, we wouldn't have taken this long to have a season like this or to be kind of a top 10 team as we are now.
Look what we did the season after.
We wouldn't have been
one.
fighting relegation last season. If we were
look what we did
well
the season after the other good season. It needs to happen again next year. And I think under someone like Moyes, he can make do with what we have now. But we need more. And can anyone see GSB putting in a lot of money for more? I certainly can't. I just have to hope that Moyes does some wonderful scouting and gets the players he wants in. But it's nothing to do with GSB.
No, for me, this is all down to Moyes and his coaching staff. I think they're doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said it's in spite of GSB, not because of them in the comments. But Jazz, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you look at the Bilic season, he was kind of sacked the following season. If you look at David Moyes last time round, they got rid of him the following season. So there's been no sort of 3-4 good years where you've been fairly stable, no relegation, that kind of thing. So the odd one season here and there is to do with the manager and maybe getting a little bit lucky with a few signings. If it's due to the ownership, it means there's been a steady growth in training facilities, scouting system. The manager's been embedded in for a number of seasons. Everyone's settled. Everyone knows what page they're on. And then you can say, it's because it's been happening because we've invested in something 3-4 years ago. And now we're seeing the rewards of it. But just getting, bringing someone in and having a season like now, it's not really the ownership. It will be if we can build on this, like I said. If they spend the money that we need to make ourselves permanently in the top 6, which we can under these players and the manager, then we'll say it's the owners. But we've seen in January, I mean, David won't say it. He wasn't backed in January. No way for what he wanted. And then again, we could have had top 4, I reckon, more or less sealed if he had got 1 or 2 players over the line he wanted, I think. And in the summer, I've got my doubts about the board investing what we need because they're scared of if we get into Europe, they're going to be scared saying, oh God, we have to spend some money now. Otherwise, we've only got a squad of 15 and we have to submit 22, 23 numbers to UEFA. So yeah, it's definitely the management, I think. Yeah.
Epic cash time. He's had a mare. Epic. Good, big fan of yours. But
these comments here, no GSB, no Moyes, and no one else would have hired him. Listen, if you think this was just some inspired signing, I'm sorry, you don't understand what happened. This was
they sacked him, didn't they, Tommy?
This was owners who were in a serious jam because they were going to have to pay out a hell of a lot of money to a very expensive manager who did a very poor job, who they hired. David Moyes was available and cheap as chips and willing to take it on and willing to work for them. He was almost the only show in town. This was not some inspired hire. This was not some inspired hire by GSB who said, let's get David Moyes in, he'll turn us into Champions League challengers. No, he was available, he was cheap, and he was willing to work for them arseholes.
Yeah, they just wanted anyone who was on the cheap, and they worked with Moyes before. They literally sacked him, so they clearly didn't rate him that highly. They'd worked with him before. They were thinking, oh, you know what, we've got no other choice now. We need to stay up. Moyes has done it before. But let's be honest, we don't have anyone else to hire.
I think Moyes is only on £15,000 a week as well. I think maybe with the new contract he's getting sorted out, he'll be on more. But with that short-term deal he signed, he was on £15,000 a week. Pellegrini was on £155,000 a week. So they needed someone cheap.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was such an inspired move from the board that they gave him a whole 18-month contract.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly didn't rate him, and I still, I think Moyes probably don't care about him one bit because, let's be honest, it's the squad and the manager that have done the job. The board have done less for the club than I have. They're absolutely useless. And the second they go is the second I go down to London Stadium, get on a ferry, and start doing the conga because I cannot wait for them to go.
The thing is, here, argue bad people. Being incompetent and useless doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you incompetent and useless. And that's largely what they are. They're incompetent. My only worry, we all want to get bought out by billionaires. We all want massive investment like City has got. Look what happened when the Icelandics came in. We really went to the wall. Now, GSB are by no means my first choice as owners. And I would like to see them gone, but I only want to see them gone for the right owners that are going to take the club forward. I don't want another mess like we got with the Icelandics because, we signed Kieran Dyer, gave him £80,000 a week. The medical team said, don't sign him, he'll break down. We still signed him. And Kieran Dyer barely played for us. If we're going to get new owners, which I would like, I want somebody with a bit of footballing sense who can actually move the club forward. I don't want someone like the Glazers or the Cronkies or anybody like that. They tried to hijack their and take them to the European Super League. So I'm careful what I wish for.
I want someone with a ridiculous amount of money and a massive ego. Someone who does not like losing, someone who does not like being second place to anyone, who's used to winning and is very competitive, which is why they'll have gotten to where they've gotten. I want someone who is absolutely determined to drive this club
even
forward.
Bloody Tony Khan at Fulham. I know they're not the best, but he's put a lot of investment into a team like that.
Yeah.
See, again, I'm not that pushed if the person who owns the club isn't steeped in the game. I just want them to have enough common sense to get the right people around them who do, and who can do a great job. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like Roman Abramovich, for example.
He himself doesn't necessarily have to be steeped in the game. He just has to be able to bankroll this motherfucker. That's all I need from him. And to have enough sense, like I say, put all the pieces in place, get the right people in the right positions. Bring in Steve Arneson and say, right now you're going to be like head of recruitment, and you're going to get the setup right here. You're going to do like you did. Was it where was he? Was it Arneson was where? He did a tremendous job. Was it Dortmund? And
was he at Ajax?
And Ajax as well, and did tremendous work in getting the structures in place and identifying players and getting the scouting network right and stuff like that. So you, just as long as you get the right people and you're willing to invest in players every season, then I don't care if he knows that much about the game. I just want someone driven and with enough common sense to run the fucking thing correctly.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, what about that Chip man from USA, man, that was gonna buy us out?
Oh, he's useless.
Who was that?
The USA
name
owner
was something
we were
Chip.
linked with.
His name
The
is
USA
something Chip from United States of America, and he was gonna buy us out, man. I forget his first name. but his surname was Chip, and he was
Yeah.
good by us out, man.
To be honest with you, Peach, I can't speak intelligently about him. I don't really know anything about him, if I'm honest.
Right.
So I'd have to look into it. To be honest, I didn't really put too much stock in those rumors. So really, unless like something comes along that actually looks quite solid, like there might really be an interest there, and we potentially might get a bid, then maybe I'll start looking into who they are and what they're about. But
Like, what about the Tony Cardi the consortium, that Tony Cardi was building to take over the club? Like, what happened with that?
apparently nothing so far, anyway. As far as I'm aware, nothing solid has happened. But obviously, Tony Cottee is steeped in West Ham, and obviously loves the club. Came through our academy, so that would be very interesting. But again, I suppose as long as they're able to financially do the needful, obviously the finances have to be right. Certainly,
I agree with you.
Personality-wise, he's the right kind of person to have in and around the club. He definitely wants the best for West Ham, and he would certainly, want to drive us forward.
But you need the financial backing, don't you?
The finances have to be there. Yeah,
absolutely, man. 100%.
When's the whole
we're that close away. Like, you saw what happened to Man City. Man City were like a first division squad, and then Abu Dhabi, like they bought them out, and now they're like kings of the crown. Like, it's madness.
Yeah, you don't want to.
When's that whole tax thing though? The stadium deal, is it 24 or 23? 24.
23.
When the whole thing runs out.
The 23, is it?
It's something close enough that I don't think we'll have new owners until after that.
But it's like everyone's saying, we don't want too much interference. Yeah. You don't want too much interference. You just want them to employ the best team. The best.
Go on, Chad.
What Tommy said.
Go on, son.
I think Sullivan is still interfering. He's still sticking his fingers in transfers. I know but he's matching Davis. And Davis like, all right, we're not going to sign anyone then. And then he has to go to TalkSport. And then, offer them players.
That's a lot of people likes to stick his finger in anything he can.
Yeah. I think Gold is okay. I think Sullivan's the issue. I don't mind Gold too much. I think Sullivan is the one. I think
Gold's just an idiot at times, but he's not a bad person.
But I won't have her, dog. Straight up. I ain't playing.
Yeah, well, look, Sullivan is running everything. Obviously, I think David Gold kind of just along for the ride.
You ever seen the Christmas Carol? Like, Sullivan's like Scrooge, dog. Sullivan is Scrooge in disguise, dog. I'm not playing.
Yeah, he is.
One thing I will say, I think, is disgraceful that David Gold has to part with. He's an 80-year-old man, and the amount of stick he gets on social media. If that was my grandfather or father or mother, I would be furious. And I think the one thing you got to appreciate with David Gold is, he's a West Ham fan. He's seen around the training ground. He goes down and sees people.
Yeah.
But let's have a bit of respect. He is in his 80s. He's not in the best of health. Can people please stop just laying into him on social media? It might not be perfect.
That's disrespectful, isn't it?
Let's have a bit of human decency towards the man who is quite ugly.
Yeah. Like, did you see the one time when he was like leaving the ground, and like people got in front of his car, and homeboy had to get out of his car, and that's like he's an antique, brethren. He's like an 80-year-old man.
He's an actual
and
gent.
They were like
I've met him in person.
Pissing on him, like
he's a lovely old lad, but like it's kind of he's a victim of sort of where he is. It's going to happen. No one's just going to stay. Like, it has to be GSB because it's all of them. Like, you can't just say SB out because we're not going to be having David Gold stick around in his nice fancy house just to be a sort of glorified owner. Like, he has to, if he's going to be in that situation, no matter what age he is, he has to do the job right. He can't be, oh, sorry, I'm 85. Retire then. Give up your stake.
Yeah, wait up.
Like, he's a lovely lad. He loves the club, but he's part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. Right, okay.
We're one
We're gonna wrap
striker.
it
We're
up.
one striker away from like a dynamic team, and we're like a board away from a revolution. Like honestly.
Fair enough. Right, before we wrap it up, I've got two little messages I want to put out. I said I'd help Hammers Chat out because they've got a little online game, and I asked them for permission if I could share this, and they said knock yourself out. So any of you guys out there that look like a little online game, like a fantasy football and a predictor game, there's two games involved in this, and basically the guys at Hammers Chat need a minimum of 500 players to get involved in this. So there's a couple of prizes that are up for grabs, provided there are that minimum 500 players. So you've got a link there on that banner. It will be in the description below on the YouTube stream. So they need you on there by the 11th of June. So go along there, click on the link, register, have a go, and good luck. And my other little one before I wrap up is my usual one, the shout out for Isla Caton. The 6-year-old girl battling with neuroblastoma. We at Fulsham Iron and the wider West Ham YouTube community would like to urge you guys watching either live or later to put a couple of quid in this particular pot. You've got a PayPal and Just Giving page there, so no donation is too small. From £1 upwards, this young girl needs treatment to save her life. They've got to go wherever it is across the world to get it, and it's really expensive, guys. And this little girl is struggling, so she needs some help. She needs our help. And if you want to take this message as well and pass it on to your friends, your family, your work colleagues, we'd be very appreciative because we need to try and keep the momentum behind this campaign to get this little girl fit and well. So thank you very much indeed for listening. So, gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you to you individually. Thanks for coming, Jazz.
No problem. Pleasure, mate.
Big up,
Peach,
Jazz.
Peach,
Yo,
thanks for
I
joining
gotta
the
ask
party.
you, big up, Jazz. Come on, up the irons, up the hammers. Come on, all day long. Boom, boom, boom. Up the Canadian buffalo chicken wings all day long. How you mean? But yo, watch this. So, yo, when is the deadline for the Hammer Chat thing?
It's the 6th of June.
Okay, so if they give me my Patreon, if they give me my Patreon, that like the supporters and fans them like they went into the depths of their pockets to pay for it, I'll be on that. But if they don't, I'm not.
Okay, fair enough. Steve, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Gatesy. Loved it as always. Good to catch up with all.
Big up, my G.
Appreciate it. Irish Tommy, thanks for your time, my friend.
Yeah,
Good
pleasure,
legend.
Casey. Thanks for having me on. Peach, my boy. Love you, man. Stay
You're my
safe.
man, dog. You're my man, dog. I gotta say one thing, dog. West Ham Random. Remember the blood clot name, dog. West Ham Random. Big up, Jazz. Big up, Irish Tommy. Big up, that's Kaza, isn't it? That's Kaza, yeah?
Yep.
That better be Kaza. If it's not Kaza, it's an imposter. And big up, Gatesy. Big up, Duke. Yo, big up all of y'all, man. I love y'all, man. Straight up.
Appreciate it, Peach. And thank you to Cahill.
Cheers, lads. Always good getting that.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Only one thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Irons.